Hey everyone, this is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today as I take a deeper look into the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 8, Episode 2. I will not be doing a full episode recap as there are plenty of other content creators who do an excellent job of reviewing the show. Instead, I want to focus on specific segments of the episode that I believe can be used as teachable moments for myself and the audience. So the episode continues with Melody, Carlos, and Sunny at this meet and greet event. And some of you guys corrected me in the comment section and said that Sunny was never Destiny's best friend and Destiny knew Moses for 15 years, not Sunny. So from what it sounds like, Destiny and Moses were in a situationship, which is why Sunny didn't really think she was doing anything wrong. And this is technically true because it was Moses' responsibility to honor his connection with Destiny. It wasn't Sunny's, to be honest. But Sunny's defensiveness about the situation is borderline disrespectful. And hopefully, with all this energy and smoke she has for Destiny, she and Moses will end up like Candy and Todd and not Portia and Simon. Because she was doing entirely way too much for a man who seems like he love-bombed her into marrying him, because to be honest, Sunny was low-key or is low-key giving off desperate to get married before I get too old. So yeah, a lot of women her age, they want their fairy tale ending like Ressa Tessa, which is why I think these men keep winning, because that fairy tale programming is very deep. We have thousands of hours of videos on social media warning women about the perils of falling in love with professional fuckboys, and these so-called educated, beautiful women insist on fucking around and finding out because they want it to be their turn to be the princess or Cinderella. And this is what Ressa Tessa went through, and so did Shirley Strawberry. So towards the end of the episode, Sunny sits down to talk to Kimmy and Tisha about the situation, and they ask her questions about their relationship. And again, Sunny says she had to do what's best for her. To be honest, now that I know more about the situation, I don't think Sunny interrupted anything serious. Yes, what she did was low-key messed up, but I wouldn't expect any less from a woman like her in that situation. Destiny and Sunny were not that close, and more than likely, Moses was stringing Destiny along because he probably did not want to deal with a woman on the rebound with a brand new baby. Moses was doing what most immature, selfish men do: waste a woman's time until a better option comes along. It is concerning for me that Sunny and Moses went from dating to marriage in such a short time period. Most times when men rush to get married, it's because they don't want the woman to find out things about them that are deal breakers. And moving quickly kind of plays into the happily ever after fantasy that women have. So some women like the idea of being swept off their feet. I don't. I prefer to be grounded in reality. But hopefully, Sunny won't have to eat her words later on down the line, because Moses has shown that he has the propensity to be a womanizer. He was dating several women at the same time. Yeah, so hopefully Destiny can see this as a lesson and a dodge bullet. I don't know why Destiny would rush to date another man so soon after she and LeBerg got divorced, because to me, it seemed like Destiny was set in her ways and wasn't willing to compromise with LeBerg. So if you don't really want to get married in the traditional sense, sit your behind down and raise your child until he's at least ready to start school. I would not be entertaining a long-distance F-boy after getting out of a marriage and having a new baby. I would need a couple years. I think Law is like 3 years old now. It's sad that he can't have play dates with Sugar Mama because of Martell shenanigans. I think that Destiny and Melody would still be friends if Martell wasn't such a narcissist. So, on to the next scene, or another scene. Kiki apologizes to Melody for being the mole that was spilling tea about the show to bloggers. When Kiki first got on the show, I asked the audience if Melody wanted peace, why would she bring Tisha's cousin on the show? It looked very messy, and of course I was attacked. But after Kiki threw a drink in Tisha's face last season, I knew she was jealous of her and wanted to embarrass her. You cannot trust people like that around you. Kiki seems to be the type to not have any respect for close relationship bonds or with friends or family. If you hurt her feelings, for whatever reason, she will overreact and do whatever it takes to make you feel as low as she does about herself. She's kind of similar to Martell in that way. So I hope she takes the time off that she needs to detox, rest, and heal her emotional issues. Because at the end of the day, as adults, we are responsible for our actions, no matter how messed up our childhoods were. So Melody told Kiki that she could not associate with her anymore. And that's another thing too. A lot of bloggers, from what I have deduced, a lot of bloggers were pretending to be supportive of some of the cast members for the sake of getting tea or the inside scoop on the cast. And that is a very dangerous game to play for the cast members to play and also for the content creators to play, because it usually backfires. So in the final scene I want to discuss, Marceau and Maurice met up with Martell to plead with him to stop attacking Melody. They were almost begging him to end the war with Melody that he started and lost. So they were talking about the fact that Martell got arrested after sending threatening text messages to Melody, and Martell justified his actions by saying, well, Melody took it low, so I'm going to take it lower. Martell, is there something lower than having your wife and your mistress pregnant at the same time? There's something lower than that? There's something lower than having your mistress disrespect your pregnant wife on social media while she was pregnant after Melody forgave you? There's something lower than stealing money from your wife and your 4 children in the middle of a pandemic? Your feelings getting hurt is lower than those quantifiable real-world violations against Melody. Yes, it is embarrassing to get arrested, and I understand why Martell be upset. And this is one of the reasons why I also said that I did not want Martell to be kicked off the show. Not because I want Martell to be rewarded for his bad behavior, but because I know that if Martell gets kicked off the show, he's going to blame Melody, and he's also going to blame her fans, okay? And he will use that to justify attacking Melody even more. You know, I said this before, this show was a great way for Melody to document Martell's narcissism and his abuse. The show is surveilling him. And I honestly think that the show is kind of reining him in. I don't think he's going to try to do something to hurt Melody physically as long as the show is on the air. I'm not saying he's going to do it once the show is off the air, but I think that this show makes it more difficult for him to do what he would normally do if there weren't cameras all around and social media wasn't basically watching Melody's back. So yeah, Martell, you have to give it up, okay? You have lost the war against Melody. She has her freedom and her power back, and that is the one thing you wanted the most. You won your little battles when you had Melody doubting herself. She was competing with Arion, doing things that she wouldn't normally do sexually to satisfy your fragile little ego. Having Melody crying in a closet instead of focusing on her children or family businesses. You were allowing Arion to disrespect the hell out of her for years. Those little battles you won. Congratulations. You tilted Melody's crown. Melody lost everything that she worked so hard for. At the same time, she had to deal with her enemy, which is your mistress, being pregnant. You didn't protect her from anything. You intentionally weaponized your mistress against your wife, who has 4 of your children. You did it on purpose. What is lower than that, Martell? So yes, you won those little Pyrrhic battles, and the prize you won was losing your marriage, your social prestige, your family legacy, your nuclear family, your businesses, your wife, your ego cost you all of those things. Not Melody and not the haters on social media. But Melody won the war because she has her life back. She has her power, her freedom, her money, her youth, her beauty, her ambitions. All of those things that you used to elevate yourself while you were hating on her because you couldn't keep up with her ambitions, she maintained those things. And that's why you can't let it go, because it was never about getting your penis sucked, Martell. You wanted to humble Melody. You wanted to break her down because you were not the center of her existence. And as long as she's winning, you feel like you're losing. So that's why you can't let this go after how many years? You're mad that you cannot control Melody anymore. So everything she says and does as an independent woman triggers you. You wanted to have the power to break Melody down, so you can feel like the bigger man. And that's why when the entire world, damn near, hundreds of thousands of viewers, including myself, were begging you to stop, fall back, try to fix the situation, stop hurting your wife, you did not give one single damn because you really tried to destroy Melody. We all felt how determined you were to grind your ex-wife to dust because her elevation made you feel like a lesser man. I felt it all the way here in New York and you're in Alabama. So please stop acting like a victim and stop acting like you don't know why people refuse to see things from your perspective. Because to be honest, you ignored the perspective of your mother, your mother-in-law, your brother-in-law, your so-called best friends, your wife, your therapist, hundreds of thousands of fans of the show. You literally ignored everybody and drove off the cliff at 150 miles per hour. And now you want sympathy for what? No, I don't think Martell should be bullied at all, okay? But if Martell had stopped this madness 4 years ago, we wouldn't be here now. Martell more than likely would have been forgiven to some extent, like the rest of the fuckboys on reality TV. Nobody wanted the Holtz to get a divorce, except Ariane. Nobody wanted the Holtz to get a divorce. We were all rooting for you, Martell, because we saw everything you were about to lose because you could not control your penis, aka your ego. We saw this train wreck 10 miles away, and we kept asking you, begging you, to chill out. Let this go. Please let this mistress go. Reverse course. Change your behavior. Change your attitude. Change your perspective. You know, Martell has a Mars-Pluto conjunction natally. And unfortunately, people with this aspect have to go through extreme ego depths to learn their lessons because they refuse to change their perspectives on the situation that they're involved in. And like Drake, who has a similar aspect, his Mars square Pluto, these people need power. They need to control. They need to dominate. They need to subjugate. They need to break you and see you submit to their will. They don't like to release or lose anything because they falsely believe that losing things or letting go of things is a reflection of their lack of masculinity and power. I need to control you to feel like I have control over myself. Martell, it is time to let this anger go. It is okay. You're not going to win this war against Melody because you're actually at war with yourself. Melody's existence is a constant reminder of your deepest, darkest fears about yourself. You have to take a look at yourself and understand why you sabotage your life like this. And yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt really bad once you get to the root of the problem. But this has to hurt because your ego is keeping you imprisoned to anger and rage because of your own deep feelings of inadequacy and worthlessness. And these are feelings that you came into the relationship with. Melody did not make you feel this way. But you're projecting those feelings onto Melody, which is why you keep calling her evil because her success holds up a mirror to your shadow. God does not love Melody more than she loves you, Martell, okay? God loves everybody the same. God loves you so much that he sent you the woman of your dreams. Martell said Melody was the woman of his dreams. He asked for this woman that would, I guess, see his value and help him build or whatever the case may be. Melody comes right along. Melody would be the woman of many men's dreams. You got really lucky. And then when you started messing up, instead of letting you fall flat on your face the first time or the second time or the first year, the second year, the third year, you had 5 years to get it together. You not only had your friends and family trying to pull you back, you had hundreds of thousands of people who were rooting for you and your wife. God had so much love for you, Martell, that, you received warnings from hundreds of thousands of people that you were doing the wrong thing by ruining your marriage. But you would rather ruin your perfect family than face up to the responsibility of dealing with what is making you so insecure. The irony is, Martell, all the negative voices that you're hearing on social media are just an external manifestation of the voices in your own head. The same voices that told you to humble Melody with a 5-year affair because you were afraid that you could not keep up with her, that you weren't good enough for her. These are the same evil voices that told you to turn your back on your family, on your community, and to ignore hundreds of thousands of people who wanted you to win. Now, I told you guys before that when Love and Marriage Huntsville first started, I was so excited to see the cast. So many women, and even some men, were rooting for what appeared to be Black couples goals. But Martell, you allowed your demons to ruin your life. And now you're projecting your wicked thoughts and your wicked actions onto Melody. Melody is not evil, Martell. Your fear is. And every time you see Melody being confident and fearless and successful, it triggers your insecurity and your anger towards yourself. That is not Melody's fault. You need to take a long pause and heal. Break down your ego. Take some mushrooms or ayahuasca, whatever. Meditate, fast, pray, detox, go on a retreat. Melody was able to move on from the situation because she had to let go of everything she worked hard for to save her life, to save herself from your demons. Your fears and your self-loathing are making you do wicked, evil things to Melody Martell. And Melody had the wisdom and the insight to tell you that your demons were attacking her. She said this several years ago. And because of your inability to face your demons, and because of your jealousy towards Melody, or of Melody, you didn't want to listen to her. Now, because you don't want to face your demons, they will manifest in the voices you hear on social media. How is Melody evil if she was graceful enough to give you split custody of the kids? She didn't file for child support or alimony. She didn't even attack your mistress who made it her business to disrespect her. And you allowed her to do this. You even put the battery in her back. Melody was still worried about Martell, even after the marriage. You guys remember, she was crying for his suffering. She was worried about him. She didn't even reveal that she was the one with the builder's license. But Martell's self-hatred makes him blind to any gestures of love and kindness from Melody, because it reminds him that no matter how much he tried to hurt Melody, she will never be as broken and bitter as he is, because she's a source of her own value. She sees her own value and her own worth. So nobody can make her hate herself. Nobody can make her hate anybody else. Yes, she resents Martell. She's very angry with him, and justifiably so. But even on her worst day, Melody would not do to Martell what Martell was doing to her because he was jealous of her. Martell was broken and bitter before he met Melody. If you guys remember, Melody prayed and fasted a lot when she first divorced Martell. She had to go through a painful purging and a transformation to make peace with giving her husband to her enemy, who was at that time pregnant with his child. Martell, your hatred was so deep that you couldn't even see how you were destroying your whole life. And why? Because deep down, you didn't believe you deserved it in the first place. Which is why when everybody was begging you to change your behavior, even now we're still doing it, you ignored us. And instead, you chose to listen to those insecure, angry, bitter demons inside of you. That is not Melody's fault. That's not even Arion's fault. That's not social media's fault. You messed up. Now you have to take responsibility and go through the painful process of healing, because it's going to hurt like hell. It has to hurt like hell. You know how you know it's going to hurt like hell? Because it hurts for you right now. It hurts for you to ignore this problem. You're in so much pain throughout your marriage that even after you had everything you wanted, you were still wounded, Martell. So just imagine going through, this self-analysis and this self-assessment process. It's going to hurt when you realize why you did what you did. And unfortunately, if you don't receive enough support, that pain can cause deep depression or even some sort of mental breakdown. So make sure that as you're going through this healing process, you have a strong support system around you. You can still reemerge a better man, but not for Melody and not for your kids. Do it for yourself. Don't be a better man because of somebody else's opinion of you. Do it because that's what you're supposed to do for yourself. Would you want a man to treat your grandmother, Inez, the way you treated Melody? Absolutely not. Do you want people to think your grandmother didn't raise you right? I'm sure you do not. So lean on the memory of your grandmother for support as you go through this process, because your mother, unfortunately, does not have the capacity to help you the way you need to be helped right now. Let Melody go. Let the anger go. Let the jealousy go. Let the frustration go. Let the pain go. Apologize to Melody. Apologize to your children and to yourself for letting yourself down. And then embrace the pain of the ego death that you have to go through to find peace. Because Martell, if you think about it, even when you were on top of the world, you and Melody were breaking down barriers, starting businesses, had all these babies. You had the life you've always wanted. You said you had everything you wanted. You were still not at peace. Whose fault was that? Because even after the divorce and Melody was being so gracious towards you, you were still angry. You were still not at peace. So basically, you're angry regardless. No matter what anybody says or does to you or for you, you're still going to be miserable. That is not anybody else's fault. And Melody is not obligated to stay in a situation or relationship with somebody who's angry at the world, in spite of having everything that they said they wanted. Do you know how ungrateful you have to be to do that? That's ungrateful. But again, you could not see your blessings because, number one, those were Melody's blessings. You were benefiting from Melody's hard work. Not to say you weren't doing them yourself, but yeah, those were Melody's accomplishments and her blessings for the most part. And you felt like you didn't have agency of your own life. You feel like she had control over everything because she was running the companies. And that made you feel even more inadequate because you couldn't pass tests, because you couldn't do certain things that she could do. She was being celebrated and honored and you couldn't keep up. So your jealousy came out. Why can't I do this? Instead of being mad at Melody, again, reflect on your own inadequacies. Reflect on your own insecurities and your own fears. That's the demon, your fear. And guess what, Martell? Once you're done healing and you find peace, the voices of your haters will get lower and lower and lower and lower. You won't be able to hear them anymore because you'll be operating in a whole different paradigm once you've healed yourself. Right now, all the blowback you're receiving on social media and, from your inner circle, all of that is just an echo of what's going on in your own mind. And the good thing is, if you can change your mind, you can change your outlook, your attitude, and your behavior. Just like Kiki has to do. Just like Melody had to do when she filed for divorce. She had to change her mind, her outlook, and her behavior as it pertains to her relationship with you. And now she's doing much better. So you have to surrender, Martell. You're not going to defeat Melody because she did nothing wrong and she's not your enemy. You're your own worst enemy, as most of us are. We're all our own worst enemy. So once you start to heal yourself, Martell, and once you start to, unpack all of that trauma and that pain that you went through before you met Melody, the pain of not having your father, the humiliation of being very poor, your mother having her issues, having to be raised by your grandmother, all those things, all of those injuries that caused you to be a narcissist. You have to really take a deep look at yourself and try to understand why you are the way you are. Instead of saying, well, they did this. Well, you did that. Well, she did this. It's always projection. It's always pointing outward. You pointing at yourself. Fixing yourself is the only way you're going to feel better, Martell. Doesn't matter how many women you sleep with. Because guess what? The person you destroyed your marriage for, you don't even want to be with her. You're the common denominator in Ariane and Melody's relationships being whack and dysfunctional. You're the common denominator. You had two women who you said were your ideal woman in some sense. Ariane gave you the attention, the adoration that you wanted from Melody, and Melody gave you the prestige, the clout, and the social status that you wanted. So you were looking for validation and acceptance from external sources. That's all. And that's one of the reasons why even after you said you had everything you wanted, and we saw it, we believed you. Because your relationship, what we saw on TV, it was modeling what Black people aspire to have. Many Black people, a power couple, a married couple working together, two attractive people, beautiful, healthy kids, a close-knit family, a close-knit community. You had all of those things. So we believe you. Yet, and still, you put a firebomb through your whole life. You did that, Martell, and you insisted on doing it. It's documented on the show. Can you watch the show back from season 1 to watch how you destroyed your own life? And every single time we told you to go left, you went right. Every time we told you to go up, you went down. Every time we told you to fall back, you went forward. You haven't listened to anybody but your demons. Your demons should be your best friend, but they're not. Because your demons make you a hater. They make you bitter and jealous, don't they? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.